Once you grasp this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this: you are divine. God has exploded in a Crab Nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all people, Christians run around, oh, I told you they think they're God. I don't think anything on the side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it.
Yeah, like I'm not third album.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be discussing Venus entering Capricorn. Now, this happened on January 23rd, which was a few days before. It was a day before, no, 2 days before the Leo full moon. It'll be in Capricorn until February 16th. Taurus, Libra, and Capricorn will feel this the most. I actually really like this transit because we've had so much work that we've completed with Pluto being in Capricorn. And Mercury was just retrograde in Capricorn. And so Venus is going to come and bring more pleasure to the Capricorn area of our life. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, so there's definitely going to be more movement forward and movement on our goals. Capricorn rules our reputation, what we're doing out in the world, our career, our professional life. Venus rules our relationships, money, socializing, and style. And so I think we're going to see if we've had ideas or didn't really know what we wanted to do, or were planning, taking notes, and considering what we wanted to do around those themes, we'll get more clarity, we'll get more movement, and things manifesting in the physical with those themes. I also think because Uranus goes direct in Taurus the next day after the full moon in Leo. And so I think we're going to see a lot more themes around getting support with helping us break old patterns and habits, and getting out of our comfort zone, and just anything that was kind of brewing from last July. And I'll be doing Uranus and Taurus going direct video after this one. That'll give more pieces to how this energy can be playing out for us. And then we have the support of Jupiter, which brings opportunities to any kind of personal growth around these themes, our physical body, self-love, love, money, and career. And Jupiter is going to kind of expand those opportunities. So I think it could get a little crazy, but in a good way. These are like good problems to have, you know, with Jupiter expanding on these Venusian themes, because Venus is also rules Taurus. And so there is something in that Taurus area of life that's also getting um, noticed or manifesting in the physical around any goals or things that you've been working on. Um, I'm gonna say really since the beginning of December, because that's kind of when Mercury was fluctuating in retrograde between Sagittarius and Capricorn. And so I would think back until the beginning of December, like what was coming up for you? What was you trying to manifest? What was kind of on hold? What felt stagnant, stuck, and still? Again, I think you're going to start to see more forward movement, clarity with those things. And then Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, was is in Pisces, and it's going to highlight what's been hidden so that we can work through it. It's going to require we have vision, a higher connection to self, knowing when to step back and when to engage, having a strong spiritual practices and good sleep. And also we will see um Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries. And so this is going to ask us to heal our own individual wounds. Now, we have been working with this energy for a while now. Chiron's been in Aries and the North Node has been in Aries. So this stuff isn't new necessarily. We've had some time. So I don't really see this being um hard this time around and in this moment with this specific transit at this time. I really do think we're going to see more of like how far we've come, what kind of challenges have we overcome. You can think of it not necessarily a halfway point, but a checkpoint. I'd see it more as a checkpoint, a time, a really good time to check in with how you're doing with healing your individual wounds? Are you taking accountability for your actions or things that have happened to you in the past? Um, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Taking steps to build a relationship, which takes patience and the willingness to prioritize your relationships and everything that's required of us in life, which is just good time management and communication. Communication is always going to be the key. Like I think I've been saying this for a while now. If you can't do something or you've had a conversation with somebody where you said, come through, or I'm coming through, or you want to work with somebody, or, whatever it is in your life, communication is always going to be the key, even if it means you can't do something right now. It's like, hey, I know I said I was going to get back to you, but um, something came up. You don't have to tell, your business or whatever, depending on who it is, you might want to, whatever. But essentially, this is accountability and having good time management skills. It's like um, showing up for people who are in your life, who you want to be in your life, right? Either that or then you suffer the consequences of people then feeling like you're not reliable, you're not trustworthy, they can't depend on you. And then, that's when the lines kind of get screwed and, blurred, and now you have problems and issues. And so it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's more like being aware that if people are acting like that, why? Sit back and be like, oh, she probably, or he probably, or they probably, whatever. You know what I mean? Um, and knowing that and finding comfort in that as you move forward. Um, so I can definitely see there being some frustration around that. Um, because Aries doesn't like to be told what to do. And so typically this could be considered a journey that most people feel they need to do on their own. It's something that I had to do for myself. Um, sometimes if you don't do it yourself and you always have somebody in your ear influencing, you might not feel like the influence of the decision that you're making is completely yours. And all those things are very understandable. But a simple not right now is a good way to measure. And if people can't respect that on the same token, they wasn't meant to be in your life anyways. um, and that shows you who they are, right? And so, taking those things into consideration, being mindful, can help eliminate, I think, the frustration. Also, your karma. Remember, um, you create your own karma. We're going to talk more about this in the new moon and Aquarius and how things like this can really affect your karma, burn bridges, um, and um, it kind of almost um, inhibits other people to heal. You know what I mean? When you hold space in somebody's life in that way and you're not taking accountability for being responsible enough to follow up and follow through, um, it can create abandonment issues in others. And I feel like that's such a insensitive thing to say, or like, some people might argue it's not my responsibility to be responsible for other people's emotions. And again, we're in this theoretical situation here where we're talking about both sides of a story being true. Two things can be true at the same time, right? But it's gonna, like, the Pluto and Aquarius is going to be about healing these kinds of issues because it's asking us to come together as people. And so when you're incorporating other people in your life, whether it's true or not, making sure you're doing everything that you can to eliminate that fear, that disappointment, that misunderstanding in somebody else's life as best you can, knowing that you did that, finding comfort in that. And then, yes, on the other token, now it's that person's responsibility to accept that you just aren't ready right now. And they're also willing and able to do however they choose to move forward. And that's their karma, whether it's good or bad, right or wrong. I think those themes are going to be very, very, very heavy. And they're going to come to our conscious awareness with Pluto being in Aquarius. And we'll talk about that again in the Aquarius new moon video. But just also kind of knowing and paying attention how these other transits play a role in the full and new moon energies, and how things are kind of passed down and how things are kind of prolonged, right? Why things are continuously still on your mind because it's still being carried through all these other transits. Um, and so, Aries doesn't like to be told what to do. So this can show up as issues with authority figures, elders, family that can trigger our wounds, conflicts with others, bullies, leaders not being considerate, people losing their patience, meltdowns, people being frustrated about the lack of leadership. And so we're already kind of seeing this with the protest for the farmers. I think I talked about that in one video. I think it's in Australia. And then you have the truckers and the train protests. I think out here, actually, I heard on the news, or I was in a Uber on my way to work and I was listening to the radio and they said they're having a protest in Newton, Mass for the Newton Prep School. They're protesting, so none of the kids are in school right now. Well, where else? Um, I feel like there's one more. I don't know why I can't think of it. Oh, and the protest or um the oh my God, the stuff going on in Texas. I talked about that in the North and South Node eclipse videos, I believe. that Texas and borders in general are going to be an issue. So we're seeing that now. I've seen something for the first time. I think I was scrolling through YouTube and I seen big like red warning, border issues in Texas and I think it's Mexico. I don't really know, but something about immigrants coming over on that and on that border. And so this stuff is going to flare up when we get into the more we get into Aquarius season. We're building up to eclipse season. Um, and the Aquarius new moon for sure. You rest assured that people are going to start to fight back about the lack of leadership. And I think if we're being honest, the best way to deal with that is to again making sure you're being accountable for your own actions. You can't be accountable for the whole entire world, right? But you can be accountable for the part that you play in those things that might be happening in your life. And then we have the stellium of Capricorn placements, which is going to help us initiate things in our Capricorn area of life. We may have been very goal driven, which unfortunately is another thing that can bring up arguments, especially when it comes to our responsibilities. There may be challenges communicating or conflicts about who's in charge, specifically in um, your romantic relationships. If you go back to the Leo full moon video I did towards the end, I started talking about, relationships and how petty we can be with the Leo full moon. But also just not knowing your role and not knowing who you are. So we know we have a bunch of different things outside of us that have changed our roles and how we look at them. But it's going to be important for us to look within in our own home and checking, who's who. Again, you can control what's going on in your home. Don't let those outside things kind of, uh, get in between you, although I think it's inevitable. So maybe even a better example if this was to have some kind of structure or a system that you stick to that you're both on the same page with, and even with your children, because Leo rules children. And I do think that this theme is also going to grow between, especially older children, um, teenage children with Aquarius. That's your teenage years where they kind of you can't tell them nothing. They know everything, you know. And so how do you deal with those? How do you bring order in your home around people feeling like they have more power or want to be heard or feel like they're not being heard? Do you have family meetings? Do you sit down and talk to your children? Are you teaching them right from wrong? Are you providing them values? If you tell them they can't do something, are you explaining why? And vice versa. And really, in all of your relationships, these themes are going to come up very strongly more than anything. And again, I don't really see this as being a conflict in a bad way, maybe until we get to Aquarius season, and really only because all planets are direct. So, with the moon energy, our heightened emotions are a little bit more passionate in our expression. People are going to be a little bit more heated and less likely to stop and think before they react in that kind of way. But I really don't see this as being bad for people who are really doing the work. I think they're going to come up and there's going to be a light bulb that goes off like, damn, I never really thought of it that way. Or you're going to hear something in a different way for the first time of things that have been coming up, right? And have an opportunity to solve the problem. That's what I really like about Venus being here. And even the higher expressions of the Pluto and Aquarius energy is like, let me just try and listen to what this person is actually saying let's sit down and try to come up with some solutions, and showing empathy and compassion for what people are complaining about. I was watching a TikTok with a girl who was talking about how, I think they had, her and her significant other had 3 kids. And she said, I had to stop doing daycare because it was getting too expensive, but they both worked. They never really spent any time together, and she still felt like things weren't getting accomplished. This can be a mind over matter thing. But things like this, I think we can see coming up in our relationships as a way not to fight or argue or even get on TikTok and be, sad about the situation or complain about the situation, but sit down between your family and the dynamics in your family and start delving out responsibilities. Who's responsible for what? Where can we kind of, navigate and put things in place so that things work more succinctly, not necessarily without frustration or annoyances, because that's just a part of life. And I know people um, don't really like to hear that, but unfortunately, that is a part of being down here in the 3D realm in a society that is ran much like the one that we live in. It's just an unfortunate truth. And so maybe even some compassion can be making sure you're giving hugs and consoling others. Like, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to be a really big thing. Um, Feeling like you have to do that. But, essentially, again, I think Venus is going to smooth that out by being able to negotiate, to create peace and harmony. Um, I think we may be more reserved because Venus tends to be more cautious and expressing emotions. We'll seek stability and security in relationships. Saturn is about boundaries, limitations, taking your time. We can have some high expectations. Again, making sure you're being realistic about what you can and can't do. That's what Saturn and Pisces is helping us with. I don't think there's anything wrong with having high expectations as long as they're realistic. Um, this is also the ability to let things unfold naturally and in a mature way over time. Um, we may not be attracted to the quick opportunities in love. I really feel like in any area of our life, but especially love. We're going to work on getting to know somebody. We may find ourselves taking more realistic, practical approaches to Venus themes, and Mars is going to give us more ambition towards doing that. We may receive recognition from work. We may be looking for quality over quantity, or quality and last longing relationships or work opportunities. We may look for more traditional conservative opportunities and things in life. Um, we're going to be patient, persistent, and responsible in our relationships, all relationships. We may be more focused on finances and being more disciplined with our finances. Planning finances can be a good way to use this transit, depending on what it is you're trying to manifest. Um, and then I think on a global level, we can see strong, independent, older women. Capricorn rules the elderly or just mature people in general, making headlines, especially in government, politics, and business. And then we can see fashion styles like fur coats, leopard prints, classy mob wife styles, conservative styles, leather. Hello. I get an opportunity to put my leather pants on. um, I think those things can be a thing at this time. Also, skin, teeth, bone, and aging. So a lot of aging techniques for people out there who feel like they're aging. I went back to gray, which I always was intending to go back to gray. I like gray. Most people don't. I really don't care because I'm cute anyway. But these kind of styles can become more popular. You can be more focused on taking care of your bone health. So things like is it magnesium? Uh, and whatever else helps with bone. I'm trying to think, is it not vitamin C or D, vitamin D? Um, and maybe even some health issues around bone deficiency and stuff like that. Teeth, losing teeth, maybe even getting your teeth done, whether that's cosmetically or just, you find yourself going to the dentist a lot more often than not during this transit, and natural health skincare stuff. I could see, especially because it's winter time, this could be things that cause dry skin, things that are drying you out. And so moisture, any kind of moisturizers or healthy, natural skincare things to stay moisturized and things like that can become themes that you're working on during this time. But yeah, I actually really like this transit for the most part. Um, we will have the stellium until mid-February before the stellium moves into Aquarius themes, which I really think is going to heighten up a little more new issues because Pluto just recently moved back into Aquarius. This might be a little harder, a little bit more shaken up. But again, it's just to bring up issues around Aquarius themes that we'll need to address. Um, and those are what we'll be working on until, Pluto and Aquarius start moving into different degrees of that transit or whatever. And so I do think for the most part it's going to be a bit tumultuous after this. So take this time between the Leo full moon and with the Venus and Uranus going direct, just before things start to rattle, shake, and roll here. But it's coming. If you don't feel it already, it's right around the corner. So take this time to get more rest, revel in your recognition and the goals that you have, and just know day by day after that is brick by brick, just building, even though there's going to be a lot of chaos coming, I think, for the most part. Whatever you've gotten yourself grounded in, that's going to be your distraction to the outside world trying to distract you. So keep that in mind, family. As usual, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.